Well, hello Internet, and welcome to part 11 of my code refactoring tutorial. Today I'm going to go over building a composite with the builder pattern. Now this is a fascinating refactoring, and the major reason why is as I've done a lot of research on it, I've noticed that lecture presentations from every major university that I found blatantly just copies from a book called Refactoring to Patterns. The only problem with that is the code in the book, while the book is absolutely fabulous, the code in the book is incomplete. Now, I don't copy blatantly from books. What I try to do in these tutorials is try to improve on what is written in these fabulous books. So in this tutorial, I will try to improve on how this refactoring is taught. Basically, the composite's based off of our idea where we're going to create a tree structure like you see here on the screen. Now, the refactoring in the book, while it allows you to create a tree structure like this, it does not allow you to, say, create a pair and then jump up and create a new type of serial. That's just not written in the book, which is fine because that wasn't the idea behind the book. It was just to give you some ideas on how to improve your code. In this tutorial, I'm going to take that refactoring and improve it so that you can bounce throughout the tree structure and create different nodes as well as children of those nodes. And on top of that, add information on all of the different products that we create. Now, to really help explain everything here, I'm going to be going over things a couple different times. But basically, I'm going to be working with two different classes. Class item, they're going to represent all the nodes on our tree, and item builder. This is going to be the builder pattern that's going to structure all of our items in a tree fashion. And just to make sure you understand this, I'm going to go through what every single one of these fields and methods do inside of my program before I jump in and write all the code here on the screen for you. Now, item info HM is going to store item information in a hash map. So for example, maybe I'll have weight be one string in the hash map, or a key and the value for weight being 1 pound. I'm going to have a hash map for every single item. This is not in the book, by the way. I'm also going to have item names. That's going to be stored in item name. Children's going to be all the children of this item in the tree structure. Add is a method that's going to add children items. Add item information is going to store information in the item info hash map. ToString, in my example, is going to return the item name, item information, and all children of the item, as well as their item information. And then display product info is going to return all info for each one of the items. Then we get into item builder. Items is going to store all items created in an array list, also not in the book. Root, current, and parent are going to be used so siblings and children are going to be able to be created in our tree structure. Item builder, which isn't displayed, but it's a constructor, it's going to create the root item for our tree structure as well as assign it to the array list. Add item information is going to add info about the item in the hash map. Add child is going to add children items or nodes. Add sibling is going to add sibling nodes in a tree structure. Add item to array list is obviously going to chuck the item into our array list that we have up here named items. ToString in this situation is just going to print out the name of the item. Display all items is going to display item name and its info that is stored in our hash map. Edit this item is going to change to a item object that you want to work with. And that item object's name is going to be in this string right here. Set items parent is going to set the parent to the right item in the item builder. This is also going to allow us to traverse the tree. And one method I don't have here is called get item by name. It's going to return an item object based off of you passing the item's name into it. So that is all that we're going to create in this tutorial. It's a big one. If you stick with it and if you get the code that is linked underneath the video in the description, you will get this, and you will probably be one of the only people on earth that understand how to build composites using the builder pattern. So let's get into it. Okay, so I have on our screen here the class for item, and here's public static void main, and I'm just going to take those class diagrams and throw all that information inside of here. So the very first thing I'm going to do is create our hash map that's going to store our key value pairs for our items. So hash map, and it is going to store string and string. Everything's going to be stored as a string inside of it. And this is just what I was able to throw together here, just thinking on my own on how to cover this topic. Then we're going to have private string and and that's going to be our item name, and I'm just going to give it a dummy value. Then I'm going to store all my children of this item in a tree, so that's going to be an array list is what I'm going to use here, and it's going to store items, so item and children, new array list item, and there we are. So we have that all set up. Then we're going to provide a way to get our item name, so piece of cake, get item name, and I'm going to type all this out rather than using shortcuts this time, just to go through it nice and slowly. And feel free to leave questions below. I will do my best to answer anyone's questions. And then we're also going to want to have the option to set item name by passing a string item name. This item name is equal to item name passed in, and obviously throw an equal sign up there. And then we got to create our constructor for us here, public item, and it's going to get the item name passed to it in this situation. And I'm going to make a call to super, because of course I'm skipping out on the component part of this because it would just become too complicated. You could definitely do that as a homework. Believe me, I'm covering way more than I've ever seen anybody else cover in this tutorial. So set item name, then I want to create my hash map that's going to store all my item information. Info is equal to new hash map string, and I'm going to give it an initial size of 20 because I don't have any idea what that should be, of course, because this is a products sort of database tree thingy. Then I'm going to provide the option to add children to this, so it's just going to be item child node and just go children add, and add that to our array list. And then I want to provide a way to add the item information for the hash map. Add item information string is going to be info name, like weight or whatever. And then I'm also going to pass in a string that's going to be the actual information, so that would be like 1 pound, like I said before. And then I'm going to add this to the hash map, hm, by calling put, and then putting info name inside of here, and then putting info inside of there. So there we are. That's how easy it is to add that information to our hash map. And then we're going to go public string get item information, and I'm working off of the class diagram that you saw there, so that's the reason why I put it up there. Very often when I make tutorials, that's what I do. I work off of either class diagrams or sequence diagrams, depending upon what I want to do. Then if I want to get the information from the hash map, I just have to pass in whatever the item name is. So in this situation, I would add or call for weight or whatever I wanted to call there. And then I have to figure out what I want to occur whenever toString, or whenever the name of the object is printed out on the screen. So I'm going to go string item information is going to be equal to item. I want to print out the name, and then let's say that I want to do like a new line there. Don't know if I want to continue doing that, but we'll see how it works out. And then I'm going to go item info HM. I'm going to check to see if my hash map is empty, and if the hash map is empty, I'm not going to do this obviously because I don't have any information in here. But however, if I get into this point, I know I do have information to print out from the hash map, so I'm going to add that information on there, and I'm going to do that by calling a method called display product info, which doesn't exist yet. So that's going to give me a red line right there, which is fine. And then I'm going to create an iterator. It's going to iterate through all of my different items. I'm just going to call this IT and children, and it's going to iterate through all of the children for this item. I love covering so many things in one video. I don't know if you guys love it as much, but it's fun for me, and I hope that you like it. Because like I said, this isn't exactly information you're going to get anywhere else. Okay, so then I'm going to check next. As long as I have additional children that I can print out on the screen, I'm going to keep going through here. Item information, and I'm going to get that item information to string and store that in there, because that toString method is going to give me the item name and all that other information, which is going to like call itself, which is kind of cool. Like doing that. And then after it's all done storing all that information together, I'm going to go item information and return it. Okay, I think that works. All right, so what do I need to do here? I need to do display product information, so I might as well just do that right now so I don't forget. So then I'm going to go public. I'm going to be returning a string, obviously, so I'm going to go string product info. This is what this is going to store. Just give it a nothing value right now. Then I want to cycle through every key value pair and return them. And to do that, I'm going to use entry set, which is a function that's going to return a set that's going to contain all those map entries for the keys and the values. let's do that, map. And I'm on purpose using a hash map in this tutorial because I've gotten a lot of questions about how to use a hash map. So if those people happen to watch this tutorial, I guess they'll see this. And then we'll go entry, and I'm going to go item info and cycle through the hash map. I'm going to go entry set, which is going to allow me to cycle through all that information, which is great. And this is just an enhanced for loop. You've seen those countless numbers of times because I like to use them. And product info, I'm going to store. So if I want to get my key from my key value pairs, just do that. And then let's say I want to do something like this. Okay, and then if I want to get my value, I just go get value. Pretty simple. And then let's do another space after that, and that should be good. So I'll save that. And then after I'm done doing all that craziness, I'm going to go return product info. And there we are. I think I got that all right. Don't see errors, looks good. Okay, and that is all that I think I need to do for my item. So now I need to go down here, and right here in the same file, I'm going to create item builder. And what is item builder going to do? Remember, I said that there's a whole bunch of things I'm doing here that aren't in that book that I mentioned, which is kind of considered like the Bible of refactoring. New. Okay, so there I got my array list. It's going to hold all the items that I'm going to create, and then I need to store my root, my parent item objects, and the current item that I'm going to be working with so that I can add siblings and children based off of the location of the current item in the tree structure. Hopefully that makes sense. So basically for every item inside of this, I'm going to have the root, which is going to be, the root element for our tree. And then I'm going to have item current, that's going to be the current item that I'm going to be working with. Then I'm going to be adding things like information in regards to our children or whatever. And then I'm also going to store parent, and that's going to allow me to traverse the tree structure so that we'll be able to move around in the tree and add things to it, which otherwise we wouldn't be able to do if we didn't store that information. And then I'm going to go root name is going to be passed into this item builder's constructor, and this is where we're going to assign root. It's going to be new item, and root name is passed into that guy, so that's going to create the root item element at the top of our tree. And then I want to go add item to array lists, which I'm going to add here in a second. Like I said, I'm using the class diagram, and that's the reason why I'm not forgetting everything here, and that's also why I need to create that. And then whenever this is created, I need to say, okay, well, I just created the root element, so the current element I'm going to be working with in our tree structure is going to be equal to root, and the parent for the root element is also root. Okay, that's the only time that's ever going to be true. And then what I want to do is store the parent for my item object inside of our hashtag. So I'm going to, or hash map, I'm sorry, information, and then I'm going to call this parent. That's going to allow me to both test that I'm doing this right as well as use it in the future. So I'm going to go parent, get item name, and I can store that inside of there as a string, see? So that's where that add item information comes from. And I don't think I need to do anything else, so that's good. All right, so now what do I need to do? Well, I'm gonna need a way to store item information. So this is kind of a quick and dirty thing. I know there's an easier way to do this, but can't always create the whole world here inside of these tutorials. So this is the first thing that came to mind. I'm just gonna keep this real dirty and simple. I'm just going to get the name for the key valued pairs I'm going to store in my hash map and the value itself. And then I'm going to call current, add item information, and pass over name and value. So there we go. Got that set. Add item information, right? Oh, add item information. I should have made that capitalized. So something to remember to correct in your code if you're typing along. I named that wrong. And now add item information is correct and no longer gives me an error. And let's also go up here and change that. Boom. Got that fixed as well. And yes, that's the only error I had there. Sorry about that. Then I need a way to add a child element to the current parent item. And I'm going to use public void add child, and it's just going to be passed a string. And then I'm going to go item child node is equal to new item, and just give it the child string name that was passed over there. That's going to create that new item for me. And then add item, having trouble with my capital I's today, to array list, so that I can remember these guys and traverse and find them inside of the array list, which I'm going to create here in a second. And then I need to say, okay, well, the current now is going to be equal to child node. Automatically threw that in there, so that's cool. And then parent is now going to be equal to current, and current is now going to be equal to the child node. So see, as I create a new node in the tree, it's automatically going to make it the current node that I'm going to be making all changes to thereafter until I then create a new child or a new sibling. And that's just the Refactoring to Patterns book code, which is written very, very well. Okay, so then I'm going to go child node, add item, information, and here I'm going to store the parent's name inside of this hash map. And to get the actual parent name, I'm going to go parent get item name. There we are. And there we are. So if I can add children, well, that leaves me to one more thing. I need to figure out a way to add sibling items to my current item, which is stored in the current. See, when I say current and all this stuff, these are the guys I'm talking about. These is the things that are being stored up there. So now I want to add a sibling to it. So I'm going to go public void add sibling. And again, it's just going to be passed in as a string name because that's all I need, because all the items are created using names. So then I'm going to create the actual item. I'm going to go item sibling node is equal to new item and pass over the name for my new sibling object. There we go. Add item to Arraylist. And this is a really simple method, so that's why I'm not jumping in and creating it right now. You'll see it in a second. And then I need to add a child node to my parent element. So I'm going to go parent add sibling node and then assign the value of current to the sibling node. Because remember, as soon as a node is created, I want it to be the active node so that all changes made immediately thereafter are done on my newest node that I create in my tree. So I'm going to go sibling node dot add item information, and this is where I'm going to store my parent name again, just like I did before. So I might as well just get this and copy and paste that inside of there. So now I'm going to know who the parent is for this node because it's going to be stored inside of there. And I think that's all I need to do. And then I'm going to also add items to my array list. I just want to get this done with. So I'm going to copy this. You'll see how simple this is. It's just going to be public void item, new item. And of course, it's just going to be items dot add. I just wanted to get that out of the way because I was tired of seeing those little red underlines up there. Let's see, new item. There we are. Okay, so there we are. Got that out of the way, and that's going to get rid of all our red marks, right? Right. Yes, good. Okay, so now I know I'm writing at least good code in a syntax way. Then we're going to go public and string to string. And this guy's going to be simple. I'm going to go return. I'm just going to go whatever root is to string. And there we are. Bingo. Okay, so that's just going to print that root name out. And then I want to provide a way to display all items. So I'm going to go display all items like that. And then I'm going to create an enhanced for loop again and cycle through all the items that I want to print. And let's just say I go system out print line, item, I want to get item by name, this guy right here. And then let's say I want to put a colon in there like I did before, just to be consistent. Say I want to go down to the next line and then go item and display product information. This guy right here, there it is. And that's going to print out all of the information that's stored inside the hash map, which is the whole point of display all items. So let's save that. And then I'm also want to do or provide the option for the user of this system to change the node that they're currently working with. So I'm going to call this edit this item, and I'm just going to say they can just pass in whatever the item's string name is that's stored inside of it. And then I'm going to do enhance for again. So I'm going to cycle through here real quick. I know there's an easier way, but I'm going to do this for now. Cycle through here and try to find a match for my name or for the name that they passed. I'm going to go if item get item name, and then I'm going to go equals the item name that is passed in to see if it's matched to any of the items that I'm using or cycling through my current enhanced for loop. And then I'm going to go current is equal to item. And as soon as I make current equal to item, that means all changes from now forward are going to be done on this current item that I just selected here. So that's good. Then I want to get the name of the stored parent object and pass it so that the parent can be set as the parent in the item builder again. So I'm going to go set items parent like that. And then I'm just going to go current get item information, which is this guy right there. And then I'm going to say parent, which is stored in every single one of these in a hash map because that's what I've been doing. See, this guy right here, I'm just saying, hey, what's that parent stored there? And set items parent, I'm going to have to create here in a second. And I don't need this. Okay, so got rid of that. I'm almost done. So now I just need to create set items parent, which is actually going to be very easy. I'm just going to go public void set items parent. and it's going to receive a string, and that's going to be parent item, like that. And then I'm just going to cycle through here doing enhance for. I'm like addicted to enhance for loops, like that. And then I'm going to say if, actually I'm just going to copy this as well. If item get item name equals, in this situation it's going to be parent item. See, this guy passed in here. And if it does, I'm going to go parent is equal to item. I'll save, and oh, this is a parent item. And if I did my class diagram right and everything works out here, this should all work. So let's go into public static void main and start messing with this. Now the first thing I have to do inside of here is go item builder, create a new item builder, and I'm just going to call this products, like that, is equal to new item builder, like that. And so this is going to be my root. I'm going to call it products. There we are. So that's going to be the one and only root. Okay, so now if I want to add things to this guy, it's going to be pretty easy. So let's say I want to add a new section in my grocery store for produce. No problem. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to cycle in here and get add child. And then inside of this, I'm going to type add produce, like that. And there we go. So added that in, and then we could add another child, because if I want to add, say, orange, I'm going to do this in a lopsided, crazy manner just to double test my code to make sure it works good. And then let's say that I also wanted to come into products and add some item information for orange, because remember, we just created a new node. That means it's a current node. So add item information. There's all that. And let's say that I wanted to say, okay, well, I want a price associated with orange, and I want that price to be $1 per orange. And there we go. Just created that. And let's say that I also want to come in here and say how many stock oranges we have, and maybe we have 100 of them in there. And then after we do that, let's say we want to go products. To print everything out, we just go products, display all items. I'll just double click on that, and that's going to cycle through, and it's going to print out every single thing we got here. Boom, there we go. Products, and the parent for products is going to be products because it's the root. A child under that's going to be produce. The parent's going to be products still. Orange, the parent is produce. See right there. And then there's all the information in regards to the product information. So that's cool. And we can continue going through here and adding additional things and testing out all the code that we wrote. So that's really cool that you can do that. Now let's say that we want to come in here and go products, add sibling, see? Add sibling, and this is going to be added to orange because that's the last guy that was created. So we could say something like apple. Apple would be a sibling, and we could also say something like grapes. Grapes would also be a sibling of orange in the produce section. And if we execute it, you can now see apple in parent produce, and grape is also in there. So we know that's working as well. So that's good. Now what do we do if we want to add something like cereal under products? So it's going to be a sibling of produce. How do we do that? Well, I'm going to go products. I'm going to say edit this item right here. And the item that I want to edit is going to be products, which is going to be my root. Remember, this isn't in the book, so this is my code. Now that I'm editing this, anything that I create new, like if I say, okay, well, I want to create a new child in the products root, well, I can now say cereal. And I just did that. So that's cool. And then I could also add information. Let's say add child. Now, where's child going to go? It's going to go under cereal this time. And let's say a special K, which is a cereal, by the way. Okay, so we got that in there. And then maybe we can add some product information for special K. So we'll say something like the price for special K is $4 or something. Okay, so there's that. And then we can just hit this and boom, there it goes. Special K parent is cereal and the price is $4. See, everything's in there. It's pretty cool. And I can continue to bounce around and do pretty much anything that I'd want to do. And then I could also come in here, like let's say after this, which is just printing out everything, if I would want to just say print just the information on cereal inside of here. So let's do a system out and let's go and add a couple more. Let's say add sibling, copy, and then do a couple more siblings for the cereals. So let's say something like raisin, bran, and fiber one. And then we could do something also like add information. Well, in this situation, let's just say that fiber one's $4, and let's say that raisin bran's $4, and special K's $4. Let's say that I just wanted to print out cereal as well as the information in regards to the children underneath the cereal. How could I do that? Well, I actually have to add something to it. So after this is going to be in the item builder class, item builder, way at the bottom. This is something I just decided to do just for the heck of it. So here I'm going to go public if I wanted to print out just information on a very specific item inside of here, just by passing the item's name, I could just pass in the item's name inside of there. So item to get, then I'm going to go item to return, and I'll just give that a null value right now. And then I'm going to create an enhanced for loop, cycle through all the items inside of here. And then I could do something like if item get item name right there equals item to get, right that, and like that. Well, in that situation, item to return is going to be equal to that item. And then after all of this craziness is done, I'm going to do return item, right like that. And this is going to allow me to go and dump all types of information in regards to any item inside of my tree. So where is my main at? There it is. So now instead of not having total utter control in regards to how this stuff prints out, now I do. So if I just want to print out serial and all the information in regards to serial inside of this, so I want to throw a new line in here just to separate this so you can see real quick. And I can go products, and then I can go get item by name, an item to get. And in that situation, I'm going to type in serial. Let's see if this works. Should work. And let's execute it. And there it goes. And there you can see I printed out serial and products, special K, blah, blah, blah. There's like a little bit of a line problem there. I'll fix that. Up here inside of this, I'm going to put the new line here. And then here, change this to a space. And see if that fixes it. Execute. Yep. Serial, parent, products, special K, parent, serial, price, blah, 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 blah. So there is a ton of things in regards to how to create composites using the builder pattern. Please leave any questions or comments below. Otherwise, till next time.